Ayy, poppin' like I'm supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do. Moving like I'm into. Hit the ground running like the rent do. Speak a little something that you're into. I ain't tryna hear about what you been through. Like hold up, say what's the hold up. I got the pack, who got the roll up? I'm tryna pull up. It seem like every time I show up, it gotta go up. See the drip, they see the glow up. Oh, now they know us. See, it's funny how my pockets out of shape, but I fit for the flex. Clear the phone call, hit my chick with a text. Parlay through the bird with my drip from the jets. Save a couple hundred by your with the rest. I prefer my reefer with Henny and Coke. Please don't be stingy, got plenty to smoke. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live. Seem like they doing the most for the clout. Did what I said so they know what I'm about. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live. Ayy, winning like I ought to. I ain't wanna do it, but I got to. Smoking what my doctor told me not to. Got these wishing they was hot too. Ballin' like I need to. Got my exes wishing for a redo. Smell the marijuana when I speed through. Hit her with a tip, that's a preview. Hold up, wait up, get your weight up. Shit, get your money, not your hate up. Boy, draw a play up. I flip my wrist, a layup. She wanna lay up. I gotta get it, I must stay up. I'm all the way up. I got my pay up. I ain't playing with you. I'm a coach now. Commentating, do the most now. I be somewhere booted with my toes down. Made little baby tooted with her nose down. I prefer my reefer with Henny and Coke. Please don't be stingy, got plenty to smoke. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live. Seem like they doing the most for the clout. Did what I said so they know what I'm about. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live. ain't supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do. Moving like I'm into. Hit the ground running like the rent do. Speak a little something that you're into. I ain't tryna hear about what you been through. Like hold up, say what's the hold up. I got the pack, who got the roll up? I'm tryna pull up. It seem like every time I show up, it gotta go up. See the drip, they see the glow up. Oh, now they know us. See, it's funny how my pockets out of shape, but I'm fit for the flex. Clear the phone call, hit my chick with a text. Parlay through the bird with my drip from the jets. Save a couple hundred, buy your with the rest.
Hello out there. What's going on, good Vipo? Let me know that you can hear me by typing justice for Andre in the chat. Justice for Dre, justice for Andre in the chat to let me know that you can hear me. And then once you let me know you can hear me, then we are going to get started. Actually, I just had a bunch of issues. That's the only thing about when I have to travel and do these live streams. For my perfectionist spirit, it's a lot of anxiety that I have to get over because literally seconds before we were going live is when the internet cut out here at the place I'm staying, the hotel I'm staying at. Let's see. So I'm still trying to get okay, good. I see that y'all can see me. Let me pull up. Give me a second, because the old man's brain ain't as swift as it used to be. I can't multitask as well as I used to be able to. So I'm trying to pull y'all up like I have y'all at home on a separate screen so that I can see the chat as well, because I like to stay as connected as possible. And then we're going to get into everything, including my I didn't do it notes, also available at our merch store. And I'll be putting that back up. I took it down for a minute, but it will be back up in a minute. Let me mute that. And then let me pull this chat. Bear with the brother. I'm about to give up on this. This ain't okay. Here we go. Okay. If you are with us, please make sure you are hitting that like button. That really helps us grow. Again, or hit the dislike if you're not a fan of mine, but you're watching anyway. Everything to get engagement is good with me. And also, thank you to my front stage moderators and my backstage moderators. I'm trying to get y'all all situated, but thank you to my background singers in the back, Precious G and Alice, blessed child of God, and all of my front end moderators who I can't really see right now because I'm trying to pull up everything. But thank you. I see Don Smart and and Marianne Coker and whoever else I might be missing. So with that, as you see, I have the official Justice for Andre shirt, which you may be familiar with. This computer, y'all, come on now. Where's my mouse? Here we go. You may be familiar with because I have also shown this in this picture here with the Griggs family. And my shirt comes courtesy of the Griggs family. So today, after the hearing for Terica Ellis's sentencing, Michelle Griggs got in contact with me and let me know that she had something for myself and my fellow YouTube friends, Chronicle Speaks, and Jay So Extra with Today's Celebrity News is her YouTube channel. So thank you so much to the Griggs, Michelle Griggs and Darren. I talked to both of them for a minute, and then I went and got my pizza from Emo's, and then I came here and stuffed my face and overate. and took a nap, and then jumped on here to make that new countdown that you guys seen. And I put that together real quick, but we got some more stuff coming with that. I just did the best I could with the time that I had. But with that, we're about to get into it because I know we have, I think we have the bulk of the people who are going to be starting with us in here. The train is about to take off, but just a reminder that we do have guidelines in our purpose-driven community, and that is to be kind, be respectful. We can disagree without being disagreeable and insulting. Comments with profanity or graphic words will be deleted by our purpose-driven moderators. So please, 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 please remember not to use the word ill with a K and the M word or anything that is graphic like that, because YouTube and all these other platforms don't appreciate it. And yeah, we can't be doing that. So with that, let's get into the notes. No more delay. Let's get into the notes for the hearing with Terica, I should say, for the sentencing of Terica T. We'll talk about that at the end. I scored it and everything. I did a quick little video, but I will share that at the end for the family members, the people who are interested in that, because everybody's who's watching ain't interested in that. Yes, that was really nice of them. I really appreciate it. Okay, so today, as any of you who saw that video that I did earlier, well, I went live rather. Anyone of you who saw the me go live earlier today know that Terica T. Ellis was sentenced to 36 months in federal prison for her part in the taking of the life of Andre Montgomery, who is here. And so it always takes me, because these are now spread out from the court. I just, every time I go back for one of these sentencing hearings, I'm reminded of how rusty I have gotten, and how just going every day when I was going to the trial just had me a little tighter. And so yeah, I got into it. We got good notes and stuff, but I just felt a little off kilter. I was trying to get myself together. So we do have, when I got there maybe 10 minutes before court was supposed to start. And if you're part of the Patreon community, you'll hear that in our Veil Unfiltered podcast. I kind of recorded my morning going there. That's a plug for the Patreon as well, for those of you who may not be aware that we also have a Patreon for our community. But anyway, get to the court, and as I'm going through security, and this is how we do it for those of you who are not familiar, we give details over here. We're giving the play-by-play. So if you're interested in more like, well, what happened? How did she get sentenced? There are other great commentators who can give you that. JSO Extra and Chronicle Speaks are both that. I give the nosy neighbor version over here. So as a nosy neighbor, I was heading into the court house, the building. And when you go into the court building, you immediately have to show your ID, and then you go through security. So as I'm walking up, I'm noticing people getting out of cars. I then notice that the Griggs family is getting out of their SUV. I think it's provided by the court, because they're always in like these black SUVs. And so they're getting out of their car. Well, and I could tell it wasn't all of them, so they were kind of separated. So they're getting out of their car, and then I noticed like a group of people. A group had just walked in. There was like a couple coming in. We were kind of coming kitty corner from each other, heading in the same direction. And then I saw another group coming in from a different way, and I was like, these got to be Terica's people, because I've been to court so many times that it's just not usually that many people. So I was pretty sure, and then I could see them. And I was like, yeah, I think these are people. So as we started to go through the security, I was behind a group of them. One lady I happened to be in front of, but I could tell she was with them, so I allowed her to go. I didn't want nobody behind me. No. I know y'all saw this live. So I let her go first, and we went up. It was Uneventful. That part was uneventful. So get upstairs. By the time I got up there, Jay and Chronicle were already in the courtroom. I noticed in the lobby, no one was out there but Terica's people. And so I was like, well, maybe I can go into court. And I saw one of the officers come out, the marshals come out of the court. And so I went in, and sure enough, they were inside, but Terica's people just stayed out in the lobby. I don't know if it's because that was their first time there and they didn't know they could go into court as soon as they unlocked the doors. Going there, sitting down, there's Angie Danis and Gwen Carroll, who are the prosecutors for the United States. They are the ones who did that slam dunk case against Tim Norman. There were a few people from the public, and if I'm not mistaken, by then, I'm not sure if I think some of the Griggs people family were sitting there already, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then there were a couple FBI agents there who had been there through the trial. I think it was 2 to 3 of them. And this is where I say I had got rusty, because y'all know I used to give y'all details and be like, it was 3 of them and they had on gray suits and da-da-da. I was a little off. And then there was Terica's attorney was already there. And yeah, that was it. So pretty much immediately, because I got there so close to the start of court, Terica's people started to file in, and they quickly filled up the entire, 4 rows in front of us, and had overflow. Like they were squeezing into those rows. And then the Griggs family came in, and Darren, they had an infant, which I noticed when they were getting out of the SUV outside. I noticed that I think it was Michelle Griggs had an infant. I forgot to ask her when they gave me this gift about the baby. But it's a little infant girl, and we're thinking, and I don't know why I forgot to ask. I think it's Darren's little girl. So there's an addition to the family. We know this much. And Darren had the baby in the court. So it's making me think that was Darren's baby. But anyway, let's get into the actual notes, and then that breaks some of that down a little bit more. So Terica comes in. She is shackled. I put shackled and handcuffed because I thought she was handcuffed when she walked in, at least just from the appearance. Again, I was a little off. I wasn't as tight as I used to be. But none of the other time did I notice her being handcuffed. But they do unhandcuff them when they sit down. At least they were doing that with Tim. So maybe she was shackled and handcuffed when she came in. She was definitely shackled. She had on that same, what I described when she came in and testified against Tim. She had that same green and white striped, horizontal striped prison uniform. And the stripes are like this thick, going across all the way down the legs. She had that on. Her hair was pulled back into a little ponytail. Not even ponytail. What they call a little like the little scrunchy kind of thing at the top. But she got about that much hair up there to put that much. Yeah, it was. The wet wavy look she had the last time when she testified, that was the way to go. But she didn't do that. She tried to pull it back. She ain't got enough hair. Like, I think her hair, like, it ain't growing or something, like the stress or something. It looked rough. I don't know if that was on purpose though. I don't know. Maybe it was on purpose for the sentencing purpose. Like, oh Jesus, Lord, I'm going through almost like The Color Purple. You told Harpo to beat me, and when she came from she ended up getting out of jail to go to go work for the white lady, and then the Christmas she got to spend with her family. All that whole just, oh Lord, oh life been mighty rough. It was that kind of feel that she had. It was just like, oh Jesus, like made me feel bad for her. She looked real rough, and she's a pretty girl. We got to give our just due. She's a pretty girl, which is how she lured Andre. But yeah, she looked rough. Now she was still very, very pale. I even wrote that, very pale. She's not getting no sun. I don't even know. Maybe do she get the hour a day? Don't they give them an hour a day outside? Well, I guess they give them an hour a day for recreation, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's outside, right? So maybe that was it. I'll go ahead and answer this, Renata. No, there were no Montgomerys. Yeah, there were no Montgomery family members there. People, I noticed with these that only the people who it directly relates to kind of show up. So like the Montgomerys have only showed up with stuff that was related to Tim. None of the other stuff, not even Trevel's sentencing or YL's. Oh, and I put that when she was walking out, like you could hear the shackles because it was Chronicle who was like, "Oh, here she come," because you literally, it was like Santa Claus, ching ching ching, like you heard the bells coming before she actually came through the entrance that they have the prisoners come through. Oh, the other thing that we noticed was that she looked like she gained weight since the last hearing, since she was testified for in Tim's trial. So that was September. So from September to January, she's gained quite a bit of weight. Like she's very hippie now, very hippie. So it's like, she had some, well, at least it was rumored that she had surgeries and all that. That stuff is, yeah, it was a waste of money. It's gone now. And I put she looked stressed. She looked really stressed. She had a piece of tissue balled up in her hand, like one that you could tell she'd been using quite a while from crying and stuff. And it's just a wad of tissue in her hand that she just tapping her eyes when the tears get to flowing again. She had two marshals with her. I will say, unlike Tim, and I even think it was not Tim. I'm sorry. Well, Tim, yeah, Tim when he was convicted, when we were getting the judgment, there were, what did I tell y'all, like 10 or 12 marshals, even with Trevel, there were also quite a few marshals, 6 to 8 or whatever. But with Terica, there was only the 2 marshals she had that were escorting her, and then the marshals of the court. It wasn't like a ton of them all over the place like normal. Maybe because they knew they weren't gonna give her that long, and they like, she ain't gonna try to run. She want to get this over with. So I found that to be interesting. So I did have the Griggs family. So with the Griggs family, there were some new people who were there who I hadn't seen, and they're not even in this picture here of the family. But who was in attendance was Darren Griggs, here to your, starting at your left, Darren, Mama Griggs, Michelle Griggs, and then Auntie on the end with the blue justice for Dre, for our Dre shirt. But there was about 9 to 10 of them. Now in the court with the Ellis family, Terica's family, being so deep, like literally, I said jokingly earlier in the live that, she had 36 letters, and I think all 36 people showed up or thereabout. It was a lot of them. And so because of that, it just made it very kind of crowded in there. And they were all sitting directly in front of us. So where I usually would have good perspective, it was so many bodies, like, and they were like this, sitting next to each other. Like they just didn't have space. So it was like I could barely see around the court as usual. So I couldn't really get a good view to count the heads of the people as I normally would. And I mentioned that Darren has a little one. I'll find out. I'm sure they'll let me know. Little one, somewhere between 3 to 6 months old. It's a little like a little baby. So probably 4, 6. I don't even think the baby was 6 months old yet. Then I have Terica's family. It was deep, at least 20 of them. They ranged in age from about 14 years old to 50 years old. All, males and females, teenagers, older. I ain't gonna say too much. I ain't gonna say, but they look like everyday Black folks for the most part. That yeah, they look like people we would know. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Anyway, the court started at approximately 10:37 a.m. Judge Ross called the court to order. Judge Ross immediately started to go over Terica's plea agreement, just kind of discussing the details of that and what she agreed to, etc. He told Terica, I don't know if I'm gonna do better with Oh, that's right. These are the bad glasses. I need to return these because I can't see things up close with these. So it says, he told Terica that she could remain at the conference table. So once again, just like with YL and with Travell, they switched sides of the court. So now they weren't on the side that Tim was on when he was fighting for his life, literally. They were now on the plaintiff side. And so Terica was as well. And they sit around a conference table that holds 6 people. And so like 2 on each side and one person on each end. So she was sitting there. She was sitting directly next to her attorney. And she was then sworn in after Judge Ross said that she could remain in her seat and just answer into the mic. She was asked a few questions by Judge Ross. Again, things are rapid fire. The only way we'll get transcripts is if she appeals this. Other than that, I won't be able to kind of give y'all any more detail than what I got in my notes. He asked, one thing that was asked was her birthday, and I thought this was interesting. I always write down their birthday when they say it anyway. But her birthday just passed. It was January 20th. She was born January 20th of 1984. And I'm like, wow, what a birthday gift to end up having to come to court a few days later to be sentenced. But yeah, he asked her if she was on any drugs that would, legal or illegal, that could impair her judgment or ability to understand what was really happening in the moment. She said no. I don't even know what I wrote, y'all. Is her something clean? I don't know what that means. Okay, anyway. Asked if she was satisfied with her representation, meaning as in her attorney. He basically confirmed her that she had taken a plea deal. She agreed. He asked everything he asked her. It was like yes and no questions, basically. And besides her birthday. And each time she was like, yes. Yes. Okay. I was going to say, when she started talking, because I may forget when we get to that part, when she started to talk and kind of elaborate on something, I was like, oh, her voice isn't as like, hey, my name is Terica Ellis. I was like, okay, I've been doing too much. And then the more she got to talking, the smaller the voice get. So I was like, okay, I'm on point. I'm on point. But at first it was coming out a little more like, okay, you doing too much with making her voice be so little. But yeah, anyway. Says Ross went, I say, like this somebody else stuff. This is me. I wrote this. Nobody else wrote this. I said, Ross went over her sentencing guidelines and mentioned the pre-sentencing report. So this became very important, really, for everything and how we got to where we are, to be honest. Says, asked if she saw and understood her final pre-sentencing report. He stated that, it included, listing out her sexual abuse, lack of a father, etc. And then we get into more. Says, asked if she had any other objections besides the ones that were previously discussed or brought up by her attorney. So when they did the original pre-sentencing report, which is done by a therapist, Terica asking questions, she tells about her life, they're writing notes, and they're basically trying to say, is this person a benefit to society or not, basically. Thank you so much, Tutu, for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Greatly, because this ain't free, y'all. So help a brother out. This ain't free. So they talked about that. And it was specifically paragraphs 53 and 54, which related to her previous convictions that she had. It was 2 of them, and they were in Shelby County, Tennessee in 2006. Now, what I wasn't clear on, and I know this information got out at a certain point a long time ago. I didn't really commit it to memory. I don't have it written anywhere, and we can't see the pre-sentencing report. It is private information. Some of the documents through this process just are not going to be public information. This is one of them because it goes really in depth into the crevices and the depths of her life and her psyche and all these other things. So these are things we will never know unless she does write the book that her cousin said in the character witness statement that she's working on, or books. So we'll see. Maybe that'll be the only time we'll ever hear those stories. But if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, but what I had heard was that she got arrested for being in a strip club, an itty bar, and she was topless, and they weren't supposed to be topless, and that's what it was. Now, that could be totally false, blah, 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 but that's what I heard a long time ago. So I don't know if that's what this was or not. So her attorney's position with this was the fact that it was so long ago. It wasn't like it was these 2 points being added to her sentencing guidelines, the way they score how long a person could potentially get. These 2 additional points sent her like into a whole overstated criminal background, basically, because it wasn't anything big. It was just kind of small, and it was years ago, and it was the only thing on her record. So thank you so much, Monica Jones. It's a comment. Okay. The ladies will display them, so I'll read the comments. Let me star these for me. My background singers, Precious and Alice. Star these so when I get time, then I'll start going through the super chats just so I don't lose my place. So his position was that, like, we want these taken off because it's so long ago. It's not a big deal. And with us adding these in, it makes her look like a serial criminal who deserves 20 years. And that's not this particular case. And so Judge Ross's position was, from a logical perspective, I agree, basically. However, from a legal perspective, as it pertains to the rules of the court, this is correct. This is the way things are done. This is a part of her criminal record. She was convicted, blah, 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 blah. He said, Judge Ross said, in addition, they were able to get the details of the situation. I guess we can look this up because it's public record. But it says, if any of y'all want to send it to me, but it says they had police reports detailing the incidents in detail. So Judge Ross was like, on top of that, we were able to get the police reports, which describes the crime. So we know what it was. We can't even say, well, maybe it wasn't even really no crime. Maybe it was an infraction of some sort. So anyway, the defense, okay, I stated that part. So what it did in adding this, so Judge Ross was like, I hear you. And from a, again, logical perspective, from a real world perspective, I get you. I feel you. But from a court perspective, legal perspective, it's staying because it's right. It's staying. It's the way the law is written. So they added the 2 criminal history record, 2 additional points for that, whatever it was, which brought her total offense level to a 40, which then put her in a category of possibly receiving 240 months, which would be 12 years. Oh, and so what I put here in my notes was, I didn't notice any real reactions around the courtroom. I didn't hear any gasping. My perspective of Terica was blocked, and I'm sure her family is very happy about that. So I couldn't really see her. I could only see the side of her head doing this. Most of the time it was this. Like, so I can't tell y'all a lot of, like, for the most part. There are pieces where I can tell y'all some stuff, but that was what I saw. Basically the side, that ponytail with that much hair. A little scrunchy with that. That's all I could, for the most part. And then she had the tissue on her hand doing this most of the time. So then Judge Ross called so at this point, then he informed us of, if you guys remember from Travell and from Wael's hearing, I told y'all how we as the public were excused out of the court at a certain point. Judge Ross said, like, they go into a private conference that's only for the attorneys and the convict. I don't know. What do you call him? the defendant. So it's nothing, like it's not for the ears of the public. So we would be excused out of the courtroom. We stand in the hallway, 5 to 10 minutes, if that, and then we come back in. Well, this time he didn't bother doing that. He just called them over to a sidebar on the side of his bench, as they were doing during the trial. Y'all remember me talking about the white noise and all of that. He called them over to the side of his bench, and he informed us, like, this is the part where it's a private conference, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to call them over. I'm going to play the white noise, and then we'll be back with you guys. So that's what they did. Not even 5 minutes that they were over there doing that. So it was Terica, shackled, walked over there to the side of Judge Ross's bench. Her attorney, Gwendolyn Carroll, and Angie Danis. Why do I feel like it was somebody? Oh, and her marshal. One of Terica's marshals went over there with her. The other just stayed back where they had been sitting by the conference table. Yeah, put the white noise on. So then Terica walks back once that little conference was over. She walked back, and what I wrote here, again, nosy neighbor version, it hasn't got nothing to do with the law or justice for Andre. But I noticed when she was walking back, she did I wish I could really demonstrate it, but y'all wouldn't be able to see it, but it was like a hand wagon kind of switch, but it wasn't like her being sassy or nothing. It was just her walk, and I just found it interesting because now she got these big old hips too. But it was just a very and she had on the shackles. She still had the tissue in her hand, water tissue in her hands, and she was very, I put here, very teary-eyed. But it wasn't like breaking down, but you could just see the emotions. You could see. I know there's a lot of people. This particular situation, this situation in general, makes me feel for her in a way that I did not. The trial, actually, and I've said this a few times to y'all, has made me feel for her in a way that I didn't initially, because it's different when you see a person and you can feel the energy of remorse, regret, all these other things, and not to take anything away from what she did wrong at all. And I do truly believe she deserves, to pay for her crime. But it just gives me empathy in a different way, I think, just because I see her. So then that's done. Judge Ross says whatever. I don't have no transcripts. I ain't got it written down. He just said a couple of things, nothing big. But then he went into asking the government about the victim impact statements. So this is when we get to Andre's family being able to give their victim impact statements, which they've now been able to do with Travell and also with YL. And so with that, because my throat is bothering me a bit, we're going to take a commercial break. But first, before we do, I'm gonna check these likes, because I'm about to we doing some stuff this year. We are growing this channel, and it takes a lot to do these sort of things and travel and uproot my life and leave my man at home and all these other things. And so my likes is your way of tipping if you're not, doing the super chats and all that and cash apps, which, that's greatly appreciated. But let's get these likes up. Let's get these likes up. Hold on, I'm gonna let y'all know what I need to see before we come back, because we got 1,100 watching, and we got 500. I don't see why we can't have. Oh, I'm sorry, we got 1,200 watching. We got 500 likes. Can we get these likes up to like 800 by the time I come back with this commercial, and then we can move on to the victim impact statements? Again, I done wrote notes. I done traveled. I'm paying for parking. I got a ticket this morning. Come on, y'all. Let's go. Snippy. Let's go. All right, let me take a drink of water, and I'll be right back after this commercial break. All right, we're a little short. We are at least on my end, and I'm gonna give y'all another little quick commercial break because maybe y'all need a little time. Some of y'all hands busy, y'all washing dishes, all that good stuff. We are at 6:59. I need 800 views. 800 likes before I come back. And I'm gonna take a little quick restroom break, and hopefully that'll give y'all time to go ahead and show a brother some love for all that I'm doing over here. Appreciate you. I'm here, but these likes ain't. We're at 7:31. Just a little bit more to go. If you're driving, when you hit that next stoplight, go ahead and hit that like button. I'm gonna give y'all another break because again, I'm giving, and I give a lot. So now this is gonna be the year of me saying, if I'm giving, let's not make this a one-way street. All I'm asking for is a press of a button. Hit that like button. I'll be right back. All right, we are okay. We at 790. I know they coming in. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna be doing that a little bit more because this is how I make my living, and it costs a lot to bring y'all this level of content. Trust me. And so, unless y'all just want to drain me, and then I can't do this no more, y'all be like, "Why you ain't covering this and why you ain't covering that?" Because ain't nobody supporting me to be able to cover it. But anyway, okay. So let's get enough about me. Let's get back to justice for Andre. Okay, so where we left off, Judge Ross had the sidebar with Terica and her attorney, and then the government, and comes back to us and then says, asked the government if the Griggs family had any witness statements, which victim impact statements, which we of course knew they did. So he basically the same way he's always done, asked if there was any sort of order, if they knew who was first. They always just leave it to the family to determine who's going to go first. So the first person that gave their victim impact statement was Karen. Yeah, I ain't gonna give names just in case. I don't know if people, but her name is Karen, Aunt Karen. Auntie Karen. Auntie Karen is the lady in the blue here, and she got up, and this was her first. I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, this is her first time speaking, giving a victim impact statement. She was a part of the press conference when Tim was sentenced, but she has never done a victim impact statement. At least gotten up to speak, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure she hasn't. So she is Auntie's Andre's auntie, as well as Michelle's sister. She, again, with these, y'all, I'm just kind of jotting down like shorthand, trying to grab as much as I can because people are they're just talking. And so some of what she expressed was, she said that they have an extremely close family, so much so that their nieces and nephews are like their children to them. So they're like sons and daughters. So she said Andre was like not only her nephew, but he was like a son. They like help each other raise their kids, all of that. She says Terica wanted to be with her kids and watch them grow up and get married, just like my sister did. She said money guides her to make bad decisions. So she's saying money guides Terica to make bad decisions. Like, this proves that. Can't disagree with that. Says because she was under the influence of money, she called Tim instead of 911 when Andre was emmed. She said she didn't say anything after. This one I was like, ouch, ew. And I'm like, her family over here. She says doing wrong for money is in her blood. Did y'all hear what I say? Doing wrong for money is in her blood. And I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna get the humbugging in here because like that's a slight on the family. But I'm sure they're privy to more information about this pre-sentencing report that the public can't see, all the stuff behind the scenes that's happened over the, her background and all that. So she's stating from a perspective some of us ain't got. She says, please give her, I think basically I got chicken scratch here, but I think she was saying, please give her as many years as possible in her sentence. Then you heard, I put here as a side note, then you heard somebody in the front row of Terica's side go, ooh! So you heard some crying. That was the first audible cry that you heard at first. At first. The next person to get up was Sandra. Sandra, I'll leave it there. Why am I drawing a blank of, I guess maybe I couldn't see, maybe I was too busy writing. I'm like, I don't remember what Sandra looked like and if she's in the picture or not. I can't tell you, but her name was Sandra. Wow, why can't I remember? I think she's one of the relatives that's in this picture too. I'm sorry, Sandra. My brain is drawing a blank in my, like I said, I was a little off today. And guard my life at the same time. Today was risky, y'all. Y'all got me in trouble with that last live with y'all shenanigans. But anyway, Sandra got up and she said, I know this may not be appropriate in this environment, but she was like, as I always do, I want to give honor to God. She says, the woman waiting to be sentenced is the main reason Dre was K-word. She says, the reason my sister has, she's also the reason that my sister doesn't have her son. She's the one. She's the one. The reason why he won't get married. She's the one who lured Andre out. She's the one who got him to keep his guard down, to let his guard down for this to happen to him. Because Andre's guard was up. We don't get into that. We ain't done, y'all. She says she's the one that pretended to be interested in him. She's the one that did all of this for $10,000. This is like when y'all there and y'all hear them saying, ooh, it's just different. Ooh, it's different. It's like chills. She says she was also the only one loyal to Tim, meaning to make this happen, to follow through with it. Here we go, y'all. Now, I don't think this out here. I don't think I've heard it anywhere else. And I knew about this. I got a little insight without telling too much. That I heard about this few months ago, and I was like, I ain't saying nothing until I can say something. It's been said in public, so now I can say something. So she says, we know other women refused the job, which is why Dre knew Tim was after him. I need some reactions. Say it, y'all. Did y'all know this before? I'm going to read again. We know other women refused to do the job that Terica ended up doing, the one she's paying for right now. That $10,000 wasn't nearly enough to handle. Says, which is why Dre knew Tim was after him. So y'all knew, right? We talked about, it's been discussed in public that Dre had told his mom rather, that if something happened, well, his family really, if something happened to me, Uncle Tim did it. That is why he said that. Because Tim had made, this was the third attempt on Andre's life. The third attempt on Andre's life. This was the third woman that Tim tried to use to lure Andre so that he could eliminate Andre. Third, not one, not two, but three. That is why Andre said, if something happens to me, my uncle did it, because he's got these women saying, your uncle tried to put me up to telling him where you at, lure you out so he could do this to you. Terica was the one that he was finally able to get in that head and get her to do it. Really, I guess he was being honest with the other women. Maybe, I'm not sure of the details of that, and maybe we'll hear those things when people can talk. So I don't know if maybe he was being more direct with those women and then realized that wasn't working. And so he said, well, I'm gonna find someone who's a little slower and then I'm gonna trick them into it. I don't know, but that's, I guess, possible as well. Okay, so she also went on to say, she claims she was only paid to locate Dre. But when she did, because she did locate him at the La Quinta Inn, and she already had her $10,000 at that point, why didn't she leave and go about her business to go home to the kids that she claims to love so much? I was like, Auntie, that's a great question. That's a really great question. She claims that she was only working with Tim to locate Andre. She performed the duties of her job when she found him at the La Quinta Inn. She also already had her payment. So it wasn't like she said, well, I got to stick around because he still hadn't paid me. He had also paid her. And she, as we saw from many of the letters, the character witness letters, loves her children. She's a great mom. She's, great role model for him and want to see him off to school every day and all this other stuff. Why were you rushing back? Like, dude, I can't, all this extra stuff you want me to do, I ain't got time for it. I did what you asked me to do. I got to get home to my kids back in Memphis. I was like, that's a good question. She continued to say, I can manage. This was deep. She said, I can imagine her smiling at him, knowing that she was waiting for someone to come and get him, come for him. Like, she's sitting there in the car for those 2 to 3 minutes that Andre has been lured to her car. She's talking with him. I'm sure she's smiling at him and kikiing at him and, all this stuff. She says she didn't call 911 even after she got home, but she called Tim to see if she could return to St. Louis a month later. She wants us to believe that she took that $10K in blood money and didn't know death was on the other side. I was like, woo, who you coming with it? I got to repeat that one. She wants us to believe that she took the $10,000 in blood money and didn't know that death was on the other side. Because you're taking $10,000 just to say, oh yeah, he at the La Quinta. That's it? $10,000? But we know that she says it's for her boutique. We know the storyline. When we do the transcripts, we'll talk about that and we'll revisit those things. One of the last things I got that she said was Terica family. No, she didn't say this. I said this. This was an observation. So I put Terica's family making noises, hearing like snorting and some murmuring. It was like these odd sounds coming from them and it was silent really for the most part over there. It was just very odd that, and the things that, were said here, but it was like they were reacting, but in a shady way that, that you can't say, well, y'all being disrespectful. Because it's like, no, I was just snorting. It really sounded like someone was snoring, really, is what that first sound that I heard. It sounded like somebody was waking up out of a snore. I don't know what that was about. So then the third person to get up was Darren Griggs. This is Andre's brother. He's the second. He's the only guy in the picture, but he's the second person over from your left in this picture below. Says Darren Griggs goes on to start saying, this has been an emotional and physical toll on him and the family. We could imagine. It's crazy. He said, my brother, knowing that my brother was hunted down like an animal. I was like, wow, that was deep. And I think he said this before in one of the other sentencing hearings. But it's like, when you really think about it, that's exactly what was done. Again, this wasn't no one time, no one occasion, and he got him that time. No, this monster kept hunting him literally as if he was some animal getting away from him in the forest. And he like, I'm gonna keep going out there until I catch him one day and catch him in this trap. It's really deep. That's why he deserves life. He really deserves the death penalty. But it's deep, y'all. It's deep. It's deep. Like at no point did his mind say, oh, what am I doing? This is crazy. This didn't work. Let me stop. Like, this is my nephew. Nothing. And then when it finally happened, he was just like, F him, was what he said to DJ Beats. When DJ Beats was like, man, my condolences to you for the loss of your nephew. He was like, man, F him. What? It's deep, y'all. It's deep. Says, Darren goes on to say he hates that Terica was the last one to see his brother smile. Because when you think about it, Andres, he's in the car, he's talking to this woman who he's caking on, liking. She bringing him an outfit. He's thinking she really likes me, and I'm next time, one day, I'm gonna get it. So he's smiling at her, and she was the last person he smiled at. He literally was gone within a couple minutes. Took his last breath. Darren says he goes on to say he elaborated because he was taking a position too that Terica wasn't as ignorant to all of this as she portrays. And he says the fact that, because he was like, I understand she had a hard life and lack of education and all these traumas and all this stuff, but it's basically no excuse for this. Still doesn't make what she did okay, and doesn't, in their mind, make it where she should get leniency because of what she's been through in her past. So he says there were many times that she could have not followed through with this and kind of woke up. And he says one of them was when she located Dre at the La Quinta Inn, the hotel that he was at originally, and told Tim, I've now located him. And Tim said, my boys ain't ready yet. That should have been a trigger warning for her that something ain't right. Wait a minute. What? Something ain't right. What do you mean your boys ain't ready yet? I thought I was just locating him. Why are boys coming? But didn't click. Nothing changed. Her actions stayed the same. Yeah, so I said this part. Her lack of education was no excuse. He then went on to say there have been 1,617 days. She had 1,617 days to call the police. She didn't. She had 1,617 days to tell the truth when our family was in the dark and trying to figure out what happened to my brother. So when this was a cold case, she had 617 days to say something. She ain't say nothing. He went on to say she has 617 days to live her best life. And he went on to say that he actually had She didn't know, but they have a mutual friend in common that Terica was not aware of, who was screenshotting her social media activity with her taking all these pictures, doing all this stuff, having a ball on social media. Y'all know I got plenty of pictures. I ain't got none of them here. Selling her sunglasses, selling her weight loss tea, selling her teeth whitening scam, doing all those things. A friend of both of theirs was sending all of that to Darren. And so he's like, because at that point he's, knowing she got something to do with it and just she ain't been caught up yet. And he's like, I'm watching her live her best life while my brother's gone, and she ain't told not one time that this has happened. I was like, wow. Small world, y'all. Small world. He said, when she was in the car and got the text saying, move, why didn't she tell Dre to move too? They be coming with these victim impact statements, y'all. Y'all should be there. Says, never mentioned that she knew Tim, that he was looking. She never mentioned to Dre that she actually knew who Tim was and that Tim was looking for him. So she never once told Dre, oh, I know your uncle. And by the way, he's looking for you. Like the other women, the other two. Remember, Terica's the third. She not the first. Not even the second, she third. Two other women did that. Or probably more. It might be more who was just like, I ain't finna get involved in that. And they never talked to Dre, never knew Dre or whatever. Or they just didn't follow through. Those are three we know of, or these are the three we know of. Oh, y'all. Says, had she seen Dre as a person instead of a dollar sign, she would have said something or done something different. That's not verbatim, but that's what he was saying. Says, even with the max sentence that she could possibly get, which at that point was 20 years, she can still return home to her family. She can still see her kids, and she can still see them get married and have children. Something that Dre's mom would never be able to see. She says, Darren says, as a family, we don't care what she has to say and don't want her to speak because she had 1,617 days to do that, and she didn't. That's it. That's it. He dropped the mic on that one. So I was like, ooh, she probably gonna speak now. She probably gonna speak. Okay, so then we had Michelle Griggs. Michelle Griggs comes to the podium. She says, this isn't the first attempt. This is when I was like, okay, it's okay for me to talk now. Oh, if y'all knew the stuff I knew that I don't tell y'all. I can't tell y'all everything. I gotta wait. Patience, grasshoppers, because when it comes, I tell y'all, this ain't over. It's just going to be getting started when Tim gets sentenced. I'm just telling y'all something that y'all ain't ready for. All right, moving on. I'm saying too much. This isn't the first attempt, is what Michelle Griggs says. Terica is a cold-blooded emmer. This is her words. That was a quote. Oh, she was the main corporate in this plot. Meaning without her, it doesn't happen. Michelle says, even after she saw Dre's M on the news, that Dre was taken out, when she saw it on the news, she said nothing. She could have told him, don't leave the La Quinta. So when she knew that Tim was after him, she could have said, your uncle after you. Don't leave. Stay in the La Quinta because he's out to get you. She says she could have drove off with Dre. So when she went to Natural Bridge to go give him the outfit, Dre got in the car. She could have said, I'm taking you. Your uncle after you. I'm saving you. Did she know? She was like, bye-bye. Literally, bye. Says, Michelle then says, she only talked after getting caught. Meaning, she ain't said a word, as Darren said, 1,617 days of silence. But when she got caught, she sung like a canary. Oh, she sung. Oh, she sung a sweet melody that got this monster convicted. But she didn't do it until her own life or livelihood or freedom was at stake. So Michelle Griggs says she wants Terica to get the max sentence of the possible. So in summary, the Griggs family's perspective on this is that, and Darren said it, I don't know if I read it or not, but he said it, that although he is grateful that Terica did speak, he didn't say thank you to you or none of that. It was, I'm grateful, like as I'm grateful to God that she actually did. Like it wasn't even like he was giving her credit. It was like, I'm grateful that this situation caused her to speak because and tell the truth and give the whole plot, because without that, they know that there's a 99% chance that Tim would have went free or never even got caught, never got arrested. So they are very aware of that. And so there's a gratefulness to God for that, but not Terica, because the thought is Terica didn't do that for us. She didn't do that for Dre, because for one, she could have stopped this and Dre could still be here. But the other piece is, let's say she got bamboozled into that point. She could have also not had us in the dark for years with a cold case, not knowing what happened to Dre. So the fact that she's speaking up now does not make them feel like, oh, she's such a sweetheart and she, got bamboozled and she really cares and blah, blah, blah. No, it's like, they like, you just trying to get home to your kids and be with your family and have your life. And once again, return to living your best life. So they ain't happy with this. We'll talk a little bit more about this, about this. It's more in my notes. And are we starting the comment? Let me make sure. Oh yeah. Star is you can start plenty more comments because I'm gonna be done in a minute. My background singers, Alice, Blessed Child of God, and Precious G. Star at least triple that number. Thank you, ladies. Says Terica's attorney. Oh, I keep attempting to read this like this somebody else notes. So I said, this is Terica's attorney speaking. So now the victim impact statements, that part is done. Judge Ross redirects and he's saying to Terica's attorney, do you have anything to say? And then he goes to the podium and he states that I want to make a statement about life in general. He says, we all have tragedy in life. I was like, ooh, where are we going with this? I don't like this. I don't like where we going. Sounds dismissive. Says, we try to get through them the best way we can until our last days. So like, oh, well, tragedies happen to all of us. And we just keep moving, because you ain't going to be able to get over till you die. So we just wait till we die and we just push it to the side. Like, what? Okay. He says, I met Terica 10 to 11 months after her arrest. He says, since I met her, immediately she expressed remorse. He says, there's tragedy on both sides of the aisle. Yeah, but it's different. One is very permanent. One is extremely permanent. One is just gone. Just gone. The other is like, we can mend this. Like, we can fix this. Like, we can get over this and keep moving on with life and still have joys and all of that. Like, it's going to be a blip on the map of her life kind of thing. It's different. Or the family's life. It's different. It's different. It's not quite the same. Says, I've provided the court. Is this where I come up? He says, I provided the court with a lot of heartfelt letters. Those are the 36 letters that we that y'all read in our last live stream with all that shenanigans. Y'all acted up. Y'all got me in trouble. But so during this time, I put a little note, a sidebar, that Terica this time is doing this. And it wasn't like a dismissive. It's like, oh my God, like, oh my life. You know, it was like just overwhelmed with emotion, could barely hold my head up, kind of more. Wasn't dismissive, but that's what she was doing the whole time. Says, and again, I couldn't see her facial expression. I'm only seeing like the side, back of her head. Says, he says, basically, my client could not defend herself from being molested, abused, and R-worded. Can't say that word because we're on YouTube. He says, who knows if Tim would have been convicted if not for Terica? Because we know what happened with Travell. I told y'all that earlier in the live stream. So he's working it. Oh, he's working it. What else did he say? Wait, let me see, y'all. So this is, I think at this point too, I hope I can get ahead of my notes. Let me make sure, y'all. Let me just make sure. Okay, no. Well, I'll jump it because okay. So he's talking. The Terica's attorney is still talking. He said that her life would never be the same due to the public attention. He says her letters of support that were sent, and he said, which were a part of were in the database, had been retrieved and read out loud on YouTube. And he said, due to that, and he talked about, other media attention, her life would never be the same. And I'm not laughing at like I'm trying to ruin about his life or nothing, but I'm like, that was public record. And y'all, he tried to use, her attorney tried to use, and this is why you have to be careful, because there'll be people who say, well, why you didn't do this, and why they didn't say this, and why the Griggs ain't doing this, and why so-and-so ain't doing that. Literally, me, a nosy bystander, a nosy neighbor out here doing my work, because this is my job, my YouTube job, accessing public records. They are public. I didn't steal nothing. I ain't do no Tasha K's over here. I ain't got no informant at the federal court giving me some documents I shouldn't have my hands on. Ain't none of that happening. I access public records and pay for them. That's why I be talking about. Thank you so much, Deborah. That's why I be needing these super chats and stuff. All this stuff costs money, y'all. Even the documents I read to y'all cost me money. But anyway, I'm accessing them and doing that, blah, blah, blah. I literally have done nothing wrong. However, he was able to use that for sympathy from the court to say, see, he's attacking. He didn't say my name or nothing, but it was clear because Chronicle and Jay said, did you see them all turn around and look at you when they said it? When the attorney said it, the whole row, 4 rows of the family members started looking back at me. I'm like, Jesus. I was too busy taking notes, but I felt it. Oh, there was so many. Oh my God, the evil looks. I've never in my life gotten so many evil looks. I was like, this is so unlike the trial where people was like, oh, hey, Bill. No, thank you. Last night was fun. We was on there for 4 hours. This was like, this Negro, if we could do something to him and get away with it, we would. That's the energy that I was feeling. There was this one teenage guy. He's probably somewhere 16 to 18, maybe. He just, every time I looked up, he was 2 rows in front of me, kept turning back, looking at me. Then this one girl, the row right in front of me, something happened. I don't even know what was happening, but I was, I don't have no pen with me, right? But I'm just writing, I'm writing. And then I don't know if y'all get this. I do this to turn the page to keep writing. And she goes, like, this nigga writing all the goddamn notes. Oh, God. It's funny because it's over, but it was tense. I work hard for y'all. That's why I'm like, give me these likes. Quit playing with me. This is not easy, y'all. I'm working my ass off to entertain y'all. I'm over here samboing and blocking tomatoes and whatever else they got because they from Memphis, I think. Yes, so that happened. So her attorney tried to use me as an example of how the public attacks Terica and the fact that her life will never be the same because of that. He also mentioned that she had been forced into prostitution at an early age. So this book, I know some of y'all like, I ain't supporting nothing and I ain't giving her nothing and I ain't want to hear nothing from her. If she gets somebody else to write it, because we from them letters, it would be a struggle probably if she wrote it. But the way I look at it is, we might want to support this book because, again, things ain't over. And there's a such thing as called civil lawsuits and wrongful death lawsuits. So this book might be in the benefit of the estate of Andre Montgomery. So go ahead, write that book, girl. Write that book. Write that book. Okay, so let me go back because I skipped ahead to give y'all that. Y'all so silly. Y'all are so silly. Okay, yeah. Wait, let me make sure. I don't want to skip nothing too important. Yeah, okay. I got past the part where Terica's attorney tries to drag me without really saying my name. I got what she was doing. I ain't take no offense to it because I got what she was doing, but I was for a moment. For a second, it was like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. But then I was like, I ain't in trouble. Ain't nothing illegal about what I just did. It's public right. And Judge Ross kind of was like, yeah, okay. Like that's what happens. Yes, it's true. I was like, are they about to escort me out? We knew you was coming. You talk too much. We knew you were coming. We waiting on you. Oh God. Okay, so then after that, Judge Ross addresses Gwen Carroll, who is one of the attorneys for the government, and he got to talking about the sentence and all of that, and he said, do you have something to add, etc.? I heard you do, or I know you do. Tell me about it is, whatever his wording. So Gwen Carroll immediately says that, yes, they are requesting a down sentencing request. I think that was exactly what she said, because that's what I wrote. A down sentencing request, which means to take the sentence down from the recommended guidelines. She says, yes, that what she went into. Wait, let me make sure. I don't want to jump ahead. Okay, I'll just read what here. So she said that really more than anything, what Terica was guilty of in this was willful blindness, meaning throughout this plot. So when we look at that day of events that led to the untimely taking of Andre's life, we see these moments where it's like, you didn't know at this point, like basically just like Darren and Auntie Karen and now because I'm saying people's name, I want to say her name too. I'm sorry, yeah. Auntie Sandra and Auntie Karen and Darren and Michelle were saying where she had these moments where she could have saved the day, so to speak, at La Quinta, at the Walgreens when they getting burner phones, like all these things. Michelle mentioned that too. I didn't write it down, but Michelle mentioned, I think it was Michelle or Darren, but her getting the burner phones. Like, why I need burner phones to find you if this ain't criminal? What am I hiding from? Like this, obviously we're hiding something now. So Gwen Carroll was basically like, there was a willful blindness, but it wasn't like through all of the evidence and all of the stuff that happened, even after the fact, an investigation, etc., it was clear that Terica really did not know that the plan was to take Andre's life. It is clear that why lie to me? Come on now. Don't make me laugh when I'm trying to share. But it's clear that I forgot my thought. But it's clear that it was willful blindness. Okay. So she went on to say that Terica has been in survival mode her entire life. And she says that in that day, on that particular day, when it came to that money, she went into her survival mode, which is just her autopilot, struggling. I've struggled all my life. Here go 10K. I can do some things. And she ain't really fully thinking through all the other pieces and the effect of that. Says Ellis' experience with exploitation and abuse from every male in her life also did not help this situation, because she's grown up with men taking advantage of her and exploiting her and abusing her. And she ended up with another one who did the same, who she blindly followed that particular day. Well, in general, I guess, but that particular day. Says this is the part where I talked about earlier in the live. I mentioned to y'all that she also said that Ellis held her ground during the interrogation, during the investigation with the investigation team, meaning her testimony never changed. What she said that day all the way through, she could have pled the fifth. She never did. She told the entire, it was almost like she was ready to release it all, and she did. And she said she could have told them, she could have invoked her rights at any point. She never did, et cetera, et cetera. She was a very cooperative witness, which got them to this point. She says she was also the first person to plead guilty. And Terica did all that with no promises of any reduction of sentencing, any favors, any deals. There were no deals or anything on the table when she gave all this up. None. She says, due to her cooperation and the fact that she's experienced so much abuse, that it leads you to understanding how her mind doesn't quite function the same as the average person. Without, like, those are my words, not quite her words, but that's what she was saying. She says that they were moving to have the court dismiss count 2, which would bring her from having 2 counts to 1 count. That 1 count held a maximum of, well, I ain't gonna say that, but the 1 count would be 36 months. They were requesting 36 months on that 1 count, and they were asking the court to basically agree. And so Judge Ross agreed. He agreed. He says a little bit more. I think I get to that in a minute too, I think. So then he gives Terica, he says, Miss Ellis, you have a chance to speak now. Do you have anything that you want to say? So Terica, for y'all, because for y'all who want me to do this kind of stuff. So he says, Terica, say what she needs, address the court or whatever. So Terica addresses the Griggs, who have said they don't want to hear a damn word from her. She then says, to the Griggs family, I truly did not know harm would come to Dre. I was afraid for my life. That's why I had to keep talking to them. And then I have it's hard for me to do all that and the crying and all that, but says Terica, I said Terica started bawling. She was, it was bawling. Like, she was trying to get the word, like the more words she said, the more crying started to come out, to the point that she couldn't talk no more. She was crying so hard. At that point, then her family, a few of them in that section, started crying as well. Again, it was so many people and so much going on. I couldn't tell you who was crying and all that, because it was sounded like about 6 people crying at the same time, like loud. It sounded like a funeral. It literally sounded like I was at a funeral in that moment. Then, I meant to ask Chronicle. I don't know if either one of them are in the chat, but I meant to ask Chronicle or Jay if they had understood this. But at this moment, Terica's boo-hooing, the family's boo-hooing. I then at that point realized, I think the Griggs, there's crying over there as well. The aunt screams out something like, you should have both done it. Like, that's all I heard. I couldn't tell you what she said, but she screamed and she stood up and pointed at her. It was, and so then the marshals, ran over whatever, and they tried to get control. So then Judge Ross said, Miss Ellis, you take a moment, compose yourself, etc. He didn't reprimand because I think it was Aunt Karen. I'm pretty sure it was Aunt Karen in the blue. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, because she got up. So I think it was Aunt Karen. Judge Ross didn't reprimand her or anything. But the marshals went over to get her settled and all of that. I'm gonna try not to take a break on y'all for a minute. I'll take a break before we start doing comments. Do another commercial break. Okay, so then Terica composes herself. Not even a good 60 seconds. It wasn't long. Says she then goes on to say, I may have seemed like I was living my best life, but I was scared. I've gotten closer to God. I wanted to help girls. I want to help girls like me. And then she went on to say how she y'all got me doing this voice, it just be throwing me off. But she went on to say that she wants to help, like, once she's out, like she's gotten closer to God being in jail. She felt like I heard this before. She felt like God slowed her down and to get her to be closer. She wants to work with young girls who've had a hard life with her to show them a better way, help them get self-esteem, things of that nature. And I thought that was good. I was like, this is what should have been in the character witness letters. Now we see that it didn't really matter because she only got 36 months. But that would have been helpful to talk about how she's learned lessons and how she's going to be a benefit to society, because that's what the court really cares about. Not being remorseful, all of that, but also then how do you become a benefit to society versus a burden on society? So she says she wants to work with girls, like her. Then she goes on to say, I apologize to my mom and my girls and my family. And I think she said she embarrassed them or something. I can't remember. Okay. Then Judge Ross, and she was saying other stuff. Again, y'all, I can only write down so much. Then Judge Ross interrupts and says, all right. And she's like, and I want to work with little girls who help them with their self-esteem and be a better person like I want to be. And Judge Ross is like, all right. He literally cut her off like, all right. I put it in quotes, so that's exactly what he said. All right. Then Judge Ross addresses the Griggs. He compliments them on their courage and grace. The fact that they've had to do this multiple times. He said, not only have you gone through that trial that was intense, and that was nearly 2 weeks of a trial, but now they've had to go through, and you got to think about the average family who may deal with these sort of things. They might do a trial. Usually it's not 2 weeks, might be a couple days. On top of that, usually it's one person involved. They do that sentence hearing, and then it's kind of like, let's start healing, so to speak. We're on person number 3, and we got one more to go, and the one to go is the big thing. Like that's the family. That's another blood relative that they grew up with. Like they knew them. They were close. That's a lot, y'all. That's a lot. So he complimented them on their courage and grace and dealing with that. He then goes on. And so what I noticed about this when we led into this after a while, as I was taking my notes, I don't know if I think I put a little mental note somewhere saying that Judge Ross was doing a lot of talking, and he don't talk a lot. Like he says what he got to say, but he's very concise, and he just says what he needs to say, and he keeps it moving. He kept going, and he was elaborating, and he was coming from different angles. And I said, he about to give her a lower sentence, because it was like he was trying to let the family know, the Griggs family know, that I'm with y'all. I get it. And I feel for y'all, and I respect y'all and all of this stuff, but I got to go this way with this for like all these other reasons. So let's get back into, so he says, this is what him starting to say what his points were. He says, I am absolutely convinced that Tim was going to have Andre K-word at some point. He says, Tim was determined. That's clear, because this was the third attempt that we know of. He was determined to take Andre. Andre knew that, and that's why he stayed away from St. Louis and only came. We're going to talk about that later. Ooh, Jesus. Y'all. So he says, Terica was definitely manipulated. So he knows this from the evidence and documents he's read and all these things that even we don't have access to. Some of us are fairly convinced at this point she was manipulated. Again, he found his prey. He found the bird with the broken wing and threw it out the nest. He knew that bird wasn't going to be able to fly away. Said, Terica immediately confessed once she was arrested. This is where I put my little note about Judge Ross talking a long time, because these are just the points I was able to mark down. This ain't everything he was saying. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. He says, I know how difficult this is. I know how difficult this is to judge. He might have said more than that. That sounds a little like I left something off. Says Terica. He says Terica has to live with the role she played in this for the rest of her life, because it's all over the media. Vel B reacts. This would likely be unsolved. This would have likely have been an unsolved murder. Oh, oops. I hate YouTube. I have to watch my words like this. But this would have likely have been an unsolved crime without Terica. That they keep saying that, y'all. So we got to take them at their word. These are the professionals who were handling this situation and got us to this moment. So he went on to say, and as usual, like when he's talking, like if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the sentencing, like what the actual time served needs to be, because he just says it within a sentence. So he was like, and this wouldn't have been unsolved without, it would have likely been an unsolved crime without the cooperation of Terica. Therefore, the 36 months. And then he says, I'm also requesting that she participate in drug abuse. Literally, he just goes into he uses his different words, but he just goes into it like that. That he's going to recommend that she participate in drug abuse and mental health counseling, and basically working in prison, like a job in prison. He's giving her supervised release for 3 years. He says, if her probation is violated, he says, I vow to, if you end up back in my court, he says, I vow to you that I will sentence you as long as I possibly can. He said that once she is released on probation, she will have to do substance abuse testing. He says he said this is not normal, but he's also going to demand that she have mental health evaluation and treatment when she's on probation, because he's like, from what I've read, you obviously need it. He's like, she's had such a traumatic life that she needs it, like prior to this and then this. He says he feels that her drinking problem has also led her to making many bad decisions, including this one. So what he's saying is that she also basically, I guess, has a alcohol problem. Her rights to appeal were then reviewed by Judge Ross. That whole process, if she decides to appeal, I don't think she's going to appeal this. I wouldn't touch it. I'd be like, okay, thank you. Take these 3 years and go. He says he reminded her to stay out of trouble. And again, he reiterated, if you get in trouble, you end up back here. I am locking you. You going back to prison. And he says, and then that, he said a few other words, but this is the funny part. So the family's relieved. Her family is relieved. The other thing, fast rewinding a little bit, when the government attorney Gwen Carroll was talking and requesting the reduced sentence, the step down or whatever, downgrade sentence or whatever they called it, she talked about also how great the Griggs family has been to work with. They've been working with them for like 3 years, I think she said. And she says that they have been like absolutely one of the best families they've ever worked with, all things being considered, with how hard this has been. And they always try to like bring justice to these families, and like they build a connection and all these other things through this process. and they said that they try as much as possible to give the family closure and give the family what they want. They said, however, in this particular, and they try to align with the family as much as possible. And they said, however, in this particular situation, this is one of the times where we're unfortunately unable to align with the family's wishes, meaning the Griggs want Terica to get, or still want Terica to get the maximum available, which is allowed rather, which is the 20 years. However, the government, as I said earlier, only gave 36 months. So Gwen Carroll recognized that the family wants her to get more, and we care about this family, and we want the best for them, so to speak, but we can't agree with them in this because, and that's when she went down the road of how helpful and instrumental Terica's cooperation has been in getting us to this place, and we would have likely not have seen this victory without her. And so because of that, and the fact that she didn't purposefully get involved in this, they're recommending a lighter sentence. So all of that. And then, so the judge, he's saying all his stuff. Her family is like, weight lifted, they're kind of rejoicing. They're quiet, they're to themselves and not interrupting. But at one point, like pretty much Judge Ross is closing it out. And one of the female family members says, God is good. Put that on your YouTube. And I was like, this family. It's like, when have I ever said God ain't good? You got the wrong platform. God is the reason for this platform. So I was like, okay. So I'm gonna make sure that I wrote it. I quoted you. Like, yes, God is good. I wasn't trying to see her burn in hell. Like, what's your point? What? People. I get it. I mean, things happen in life, and then, people need somebody to blame. Somehow this became my fault. Like, somehow, I guess me and Tim are in cahoots and we got Terica in trouble, I guess. I don't know. I'm like, how am I the bad guy? But anyway, thank y'all for watching, though. Like or dislike, because that does help this channel grow. Okay, so with that, I'm going to this is a long comment to read, but start this for me, background singers, my background moderators, start this for me, and then I'm gonna read it when I come back from the commercial break, and I'm gonna take a swig of water and another restroom break because I'm drinking all this water. So, all right, we'll be back, and then we're gonna get to y'all comments, and then we're gonna head out of here. How long we been on? Oh, it's not bad, only an hour and 40 minutes. All right, so I'll give y'all probably another hour. We'll read comments. We'll do a little shenanigans and see what happens for that. Yeah, because I'm seeing all kind of comments. What happened to the insurance man? Renetta, where you been, Renetta? Renetta Gordley. YL was sentenced. I'm sorry, the comments are like, let me put this. Oh, I need my glasses. Y'all can't see. Where's the comment? Where's the comment? Here we go. What happened to I'm gonna answer this right before. What happened to the insurance man? You're talking about YL Yagnam. YL Yagnam was sentenced in November, y'all. Wasn't it November? And what he get, like 2 years, y'all? 2 to 3 years. Y'all told me in the last live stream. Put it in the chat how long YL Yagnam got. And backstage, I'm sorry, background singers. If y'all could put that on the screen during the commercial, that'd be great. But yes, Renetta, we way past that one. And then I did do a video on that. So look for YL sentencing, and you'll get this kind of detail about what happened during his sentence as well. And I'll give you a little tip. He spoke to me. He was like, what's up, Bill? But anyway, I'll be right back after this commercial break. All right, I'm back. Okay, we're gonna get to our starred comments. Thank you to my background singers, Alice Blessed Child of God and Precious G, for putting these start comments there for us. I'm gonna need my glasses. Let's see. Which pair are we gonna go with? I'm like an old person, like multiple. These are actually great. These are the new ones, but are they good from seeing this far? I think these gonna work better. The old ones work better. All right, so we have. Oh, put it on screen. Gilda, I may not read everybody's name, but just know that I appreciate you for taking time to comment. It's just a brother been reading a long time, and the eyes start doing stuff crazy. It says, would have loved to see what Vale's face looked like when they mentioned his name in court. Vale kept his head down. Vale kept his head down, and my body warmed up. Y'all ever felt like like a pressure, or you like, ooh, what's about to happen? Because like I told you, like the first thought, like for a split second, was like, ooh, I'm in trouble, and like, oh my god, I'm in court. Like this is federal court, and they don't play up in there. Like during the trial and all that stuff, they be real serious. Like, your phone off, turn your phone off, and da da da, and like, so yeah. But it was all good. It was all good. YouTube did better than the news. Yeah, with this story for sure. The only thing I will say is St. Louis Dispatch. But I feel like I'm missing a word. What is it? St. Louis? Is it just the St. Louis Dispatch? But Aaron over there at St. Louis Dispatch has done a wonderful job of covering this story literally when it first broke and all the way through. Like she never stopped covering the story. She was actually there again today covering the story. So you can always go to the St. Louis Dispatch as well to get. Oh yeah, thank you, Crystal Brown, for it's the St. Louis Post Dispatch. I felt like I was missing a word. Who we got here? Kiki Fobs. Hey Kiki says not Little Debbie snack cakes, right? Manika, thank you. I think I thanked you for your super chat earlier. I really greatly appreciate your additional extra layer of support. Greatly appreciate it. To be Black Native, thank you, new friend, because I don't think I've seen your name before. Thanks for sharing. Arizona in the house. She will probably be out in 6 months. Ask me why. Why? It's gonna be hard for me to find your comment, but why? Your response. But from what I hear, now again, I'm no expert, and I'm just gonna tell you what I hear because I'm this nosy neighbor version. Actually, you know what? I didn't pull it in, but there was a press release. I'm gonna put it on my community tab, I guess. Well, actually, I'll put it in our VIP Facebook group. But there was a press release today from the court after we left, and I didn't get a chance to read it because I was getting ready for this. So I got to read it. But what I heard was that she will not get time served. That's not really what they do with federal. This is what I'm hearing. Judge Ross did not mention anything about time served, but but also when they say whatever time they give you in federal is what you're going to serve. But you said, ask you why, tell us why. And ladies, if you can star that, my background singers, if y'all can star the response from 2B Black Native, if you see it, it'll be greatly appreciated. So I can read it once we get towards the end. Leslie Bailey, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you. Were her children or mother there? I can't tell you. Now, there didn't seem to be any little children, so I'm going to I think her youngest daughter would be about 5 years old now. I did not see anyone who appeared to be 5 years old. There were so many people, and they were not taking kindly to my presence, so I don't know, and no one, and it wasn't like I was in a position to ask nobody nothing. So yeah, I would assume that the oldest daughter probably was there. There were people who looked like Terica, definitely, and there was one that really kind of looked like her. So that may have been her daughter, but it also could have been a cousin, could also have been a sister. I don't know. And Her mother, again, I don't know who was who. It was literally like 20 something of them. I don't know who was who. Yeah, I'm gonna venture to say that everybody who was everybody was there. Everybody of them who's important to her, I'm gonna venture to say they were there. I mean, y'all can comment. Y'all probably watching. I'm sure one of y'all or two of y'all, 12 of y'all watching. So if y'all care to let the audience know who was there, y'all can do that. January Rose, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for keeping us in the know on this case. You're very welcome. My pleasure. Tutu, thanks for the update, Vel. Thank you, Tutu, for your continued support. I really appreciate you, friend. I ain't gonna be able to do this name. What is it? STL? Yeah. 5D. Thank you so much for the super chat. Just for you leaving your man at home to do this. Thank you so much. He'll appreciate that. We'll do our dinner. I'll treat dinner next time. Ruby Vaughn, thank you so much for the super sticker. Greatly appreciate it. Bahim Nat Zaya. Terica better watch her karma. She has 2 children. Yeah. Well, one of her children are unfortunately has sickle cell and is already struggling. And her daughter, when it's funny, when I watch back our reading of the character witness statements, it was my brain trying to shut down on me. No, come back, brain. When I was reading the character witness statements, I noticed that what one person was saying, I couldn't understand it in the moment of reading. Couldn't understand a lot of them in the moment of reading, but I couldn't comprehend it until later, until watching back. She was saying, I think a couple of them alluded to the oldest daughter maybe not even getting ready to graduate, like might be failing out of high school, having kind of being pulled to the streets, having some issues. So it's potential that, these things, and 3 more years from now, she's going to be in her 20s. So, yeah, not that I'm wishing that on the girl has had a hard life as it is, as in Terica has had a hard life as it is. But, it is what it is. Jersey Love 74, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for all of your efforts. I really enjoy your commentary. All the best. Thank you so much for your support and your extra layer of support is greatly appreciated. Paula Richmond says Tim wanted that done. Andre should have stayed away from St. Louis. Yeah, well, Andre was trying to stay away from St. Louis. We can talk about that a little later. There's a reason Andre came to St. Louis, y'all. Remember, he came to take that lie detector test, and at the urging of his grandmother, and he was planning to only be there that day, take that lie detector test, and leave right back out. However, when he took the lie detector test, he was under the influence of marijuana. And so that meant that the results were inconclusive or whatever. And the police wanted him to come back to retake it when he was clean. So he stayed a couple extra days to then go back and take the test before he left. While he was there, those extra days that weren't originally planned is unfortunately when he lost his life. It's a lot to this story, y'all. There's a lot of twists and turns. Carmen 52 says, I've sat where the Griggs are. Heartbreak. I have no sympathy for any of them. Sorry, not sorry. I've sat where the Griggs are. Oh, meaning you've been in their place in life. Okay, I get it. Yeah, sorry to hear. I get it. And I get it. I hear all sides and I get it. I totally get it. Joel's 808. Why wasn't this in the trial? Oh my God. The problem with some of this is it happens at different points, and we already was talking about an hour and a half. I don't know what we're talking about why wasn't this in the trial? Oh my God. I don't know what part, unfortunately. But thank you for your comment. Says Tracy Harrell. Right. It's BS excuses. She has common sense. She knew nothing good was coming from all of this, especially when they got burner phones. Yeah, that burner phone thing is really hard to, but she did say at some point that, well, when, during her interrogation, that she thought he was going to get beat up, like not take his life. So I guess in her mind that was the reason to have burners. For the rest of us, not so much. But again, we got to think of mental capacity and all of that. That I know it's hard when your mental capacity is at a certain level for you to think like a level that's 5, 6, 12, 13 notches below. But Creative Ambitions says exactly, that's why it's hard to feel bad, because after she realized what she had did, she didn't come forward. I'm sure she saw the episode of Sweetie Pies of Miss Robbie pleading for leads, probably like the rest of us. Very, very true. I mean, that, and it was even if she didn't see that, it was on the news, and well, I ain't gonna say newspapers because she probably don't read no newspapers, but you know what I'm saying. Deborah Hubbard says Terica will live in regret for the rest of her life, even if she repents to God. My grandson was illegal, and 3 people involved, I'm told, are still in misery 12 years. Yeah, that's like somebody a couple comments ago said, the whole karma piece of it all. Karen says she used to get a couple $100 bills. What do you think was she was getting? What did you think you were getting for 10 grand? Yeah. Well, she did say that Tim kicked her off money here or there for like a rent or a phone bill or something else, but never that level of money. That's very, very true. But but again, going back to the trial and what I remember from the trial, she said that she was had literally had a conversation with Tim that in that moment about her wanting to open up a boutique, and she was actually going to LA in a couple weeks to go there to the fashion district and shop for some clothes to be able to put in her boutique. She already had the building, and she just was building out the building so that she could open her boutique. So she asked him if he would be interested in investing in my boutique. And so he then pulls her into that and gives her 10K, 10 grand. In her mind, the way she explains it, she thought the 10K was because she asked for money to open her boutique. And so that, just explaining. Simply Red says, I hope she sees Andre's face frowning at her for the rest of her natural life. Yeah. Tracy Harrell says she got her money. She didn't give AF. Says so many times she could have saved him. She didn't. So many times she could have did the right thing. She didn't. Only cared when she got caught. Well, that's exactly literally what I read that really Auntie Karen and Darren and Sharon and Michelle Griggs said in their victim impact statements. They all hold that same sentiment. Gabby Carter says there are plenty of people who have suffered traumatic events and hard lives, but these people don't participate in criminal activities. That part. Says my heart goes out to the Griggs family. This is heartbreaking. Absolutely. D Baby says she should have told them to get out of town. She should have told him to get out of town. She could have drove him away. Right. Yeah, exactly what the Griggs family has said. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay, let's see who I got next. So Miss Irish says, very disappointed, and Miss Robbie, anyone feels the same. We'll be talking about those things a little later. You ain't getting you talk about that on your channel. But no, we'll be talking about those things. I know how to move, and so I'm moving right now. I'll put it that way. Keisha says, why you're going to get that much money for what? For something. Yeah. Marva says, and she never called Andre. She pulled off to see if he was okay after pulling off. Right. What she did instead was she called Tim, and that was brought up by Darren. That was brought up by everybody who in the victim statements. And they said that Geez, I didn't erase the comment in my brain. But yeah, she called Tim, and what she asked Tim was, should I check on Andre? Like, why are you asking him if you should check on Andre? Just check on Andre or call 911 and say I heard shots. Says, yes, I'm unique. That's what happens when you do strange things for change. Yeah. And as they said, like, money was ruling her. These are great detailed notes, Val. Thank you so much, K.A. I really appreciate you. Dodie Johnson says, for someone who stayed in church all the time, she certainly did not live a Christ-like life. Yeah, I'm still trying to wonder this parallel that I'm not quite like. Those letters describe a church-going young lady who never got in trouble, was all about her family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yet we saw activities that say the opposite. Judge Ross, like, I'm gonna need you to go into alcohol, substance abuse counseling for your alcoholism. Like, where this ain't matching up. It ain't matching up. But yes, I'm with you. D Baby says, when I tell you, I hope she never has a moment of peace. Yeah, I honestly don't think peace is gonna ever look the same for her. It just, I can't see it, to be honest. Her face is literally. You Google her name, Terica Ellis, and mugshots popping up in the exotic dancer pictures, like, and the articles. She ain't gonna be, and I don't think she's sophisticated enough to scrub the internet. She would have to do some great works in her remaining years to get that suppressed enough on Google, because it is literally all over the place. So hopefully she does open her boutique, because that's gonna be the only, and it probably needs to be online boutique, so people don't know it's associated with her. Whew. Yeah. Karen says, I was homeless for years. I couldn't have, you couldn't have paid me to do this crap. Right. And I'm glad you're no longer unhoused as well. Yeah, I feel like, if you have a moral compass at a certain level, it's nothing that can make you go below that moral compass, especially when it comes to, participating in something that harms another person, whether you feel like it's just physically or even emotionally, but especially physically and permanently, possibly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that. Miss Southern Bell says, do we know how much life insurance money Robbie got from the insurance company? No, that's never been stated. It was mentioned in court that both she and Michelle Griggs also had life insurance policies on Andre, but her amount was not mentioned. I think Michelle Griggs' amount was mentioned, because I have a number in my head, and I feel like that's because it was mentioned. Anyway, Deborah says, thank you so much again, Deborah. Just a little gas money. Thanks for traveling for us. Thank you so much, Deborah. That's a half tank right there. I appreciate it. Almost. Well, with these gas prices, that's good. Thank you very much. Deborah Hubbard says, I'm sure she heard about the incident of Dre afterwards. However, she continued to stay quiet. I don't feel bad for her, because some people have no empathy for others at all. It's all about them. Yeah, I mean, you're literally saying the same sentiments that Darren Griggs had and stated during his victim impact statement, that, they basically didn't even want to hear from her, because they felt like whatever she was saying now was only to save herself. Like, she's only being remorseful and all of that because she's trying to get a lower sentence. It's all about her. Her attorney came for you, Val. Yeah, he did. He was very slick. I knew what you was doing, though. You was doing your job, sir. So, kudos. Anetta says, all that doesn't matter. She still could have put a stop to what happened, but she was money hungry. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Alicia Donaldson, Miss Robbie should feel ashamed of her. We ain't doing that one. Sorry. Y'all is not doing that to my channel. Sorry. Karen A. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for being a traveling nosy neighbor. Thank you. I will continue to travel as long as y'all support it. There's plenty of other things happening as well that I would like to cover for y'all. Gabby Carter says, if Terica went through the things that they claim she did, then she should have had sympathy for Andre. Yeah. Well, but that's also when you look at literally the Pow Pow person. Where is he at? Travell Anthony Hill literally lost his brothers, two of them, in the same way that Andre was lost months before he was responsible for taking Andre out. So you would think when someone has been through something, they can then attach that and say, and connect that and say, well, I've been through this, so I wouldn't want to put somebody else through this. He instead, he did it. He did it. So that doesn't necessarily, unfortunately, stop a person. Uh-oh. What am I doing? Next one is Monica says, I'm sorry, but this outburst never gets old. I didn't do it. Now my throat's hurting. I can't do it as much. Yes. Yeah, that's why I can't wait for the reading of the transcripts, because then we get to hear every single word that leads up to that moment, and I can let y'all know what is coming. I can't wait, because I with all of this, I feel like I want the refresher on it and all of that. I think they're getting released like March 23rd or something, I think it said. So for the very reduced rate. I am not paying thousands of dollars for those documents. I'm sorry. That ain't happening. Says Shantae B says, the attorney is big mad about those illiterate odd letters being read. That was kind of the feeling I got. Like there was a level of offense as well. Kind of like, how dare you ruin our moment by reading them and letting people know how. Yeah, okay, we're gonna leave it alone. I still got to go to these places. Says simply read, she wasn't sorry for what happened to Andre. She was sorry she got caught. That's pretty much the sentiment that was stated during the readings. Marlena says those letters attacked English language. Yeah, that was it was interesting. Nicole Driver says, Lord, those were far from heartfelt letters. He's exaggerating. Well, that's what attorneys do. He's doing his job. He exaggerated. He did. Well, I mean, that was well. They were heartfelt to them, and truly, I think they were heartfelt. Maybe they just weren't able to articulate the heart from, just because you got to be able to write it. So maybe that's different. Well, and they were heartfelt for Terica, not heartfelt for Andre. There was mention like, oh, condolences to that family, but we need our Terica, and Terica is the greatest thing, and we're suffering without our loved one. And it's like, but they are too. And you kind of like, yeah, condolences to them, but us. But what about us? Yeah. Creative Ambition says, wherever she goes, someone will recognize her. Y'all know how these trolls do. Yeah, she's, as everyone is saying, like, this is not going to be an easy path for her at all. Jana Lewis says, Lou says, I'm telling y'all, there are both men and women who have been through the same things as Terica, and they live productive life. Absolutely. It's a bunch of us in this live stream. There's 1,300 people still in this live stream. I guarantee you, yes, there's a ton of people who are living productive lives who did not have silver spoons and did not come unscathed without any level of trauma. Yet they didn't cause any trauma or loss of life to anyone else. So absolutely. Tracy says none of her past has anything to do with her actions with Andre and Tim. Yeah, well. Felicia B says it was the very people on here tonight that were on when you read those letters. That's how they found out. Yeah. Very true. Very true. I mean, there's like the last time I looked, that video has 11,000 plus views. So I guess I sometimes I forget that this is a public platform that, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people have, well, really millions of people have access to. But yeah, I sometimes forget that it ain't just us. So when I'm places and I don't know people and then they reacting to something I did here, and I'm like, ooh, How y'all see that? As if it's just us. Baby, we got to raise an offering for security, y'all. If I keep going to these kind of cases, for sure. Barbara Whitby says Dre's family needs to go after them, all financial, so they can't write books or nothing. Excuse me. But really what you do is you let them write the book. You let them make some profits, and then you go after them, and then you get the profits from the book. That's what you do. Or you wait till they write the book, they find publishing and all that. You make them do all the hard work, and you snatch it up, and then you get all that. So I don't know, though. I don't know how the public feels in general. I'm a nosy, curious neighbor, and I am interested in her background and how do we get here. How that's just how my brain works. Like, I'm always trying to get to the root of something. Like, my brain just doesn't work with like just show me the end result. And I'm curious. Well, how does it work? How do we get here? So I'm interested in the book, and I wouldn't necessarily want to buy it. I would try to get it for free. But if I had to buy it, I would buy it just so I can, and then I would share it with y'all. But I hear you. Shantae says, mad those letters were exposed more than anything. Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm like, they are public record. I don't know what y'all thought. But yeah, I guess, I guess I told the truth about how they were written. Maybe that was the problem too. Monica says they didn't want that smoke with Vel. It's funny you say that, because I kind of got the feeling that maybe somebody thought they was gonna be able to punk me, and then we stood up to leave. And for y'all who don't know, because I get this a lot, that people think I'm a short person because of this, because all y'all seeing is this. But I'm 6'2", like I'm tall. I tend to tower over most people. And when I stood up, I literally was taller than everybody in their group. I was like about 2 feet taller. So I think that so I still got, dirty look. Oh, and then when we were walking, it was Jay and I, we were walking towards the parking garage, and they finally came out behind us outside. And then they're yelling. I have no idea what they were saying. So that was a waste of y'all yell, because I couldn't hear none of that. But they were yelling somebody, 1 or 2 people at least, females, yelling something. Jay and I still were just walking and talking. So y'all just wasted that. Y'all yelled at yourself. But I feel like that was all the energy they had at that point. Like, okay, he ain't no little dude. Say Pink Pearl says, God must have got cells in jails. Everybody find him there. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, you got to find something. I guess it needs something to do. I'll find God. Tiana says, I don't buy it. Yeah, a lot of people don't buy it. Trikisa said, hey, friend, says, as soon as she is released, let's see how long that 2-sentence writing pastor sees her in church. That will be interesting. I don't know. We might see a Dateline special with her ministering, having some youth church for girls or something. Y'all gotta have more faith in Terica. Says Felicia B. All they talked about in their letters was how they need her back in the hood. They didn't say they need her back in the hood. They said they need her back at home, which might be in the hood, but how dare you? Don Smart says, did she apologize to Ms. Griggs? Yeah, she apologized to the family. Wait, I thought I read that. Didn't I read it? Yeah, I read it. I think probably because I was in my Terica voice. And I got as much as I could, because again, she started to like bawl really bad. And had to take a break and all that. But yeah, she definitely apologized to the Griggs family. She said that, I know y'all not want to hear from me, but I didn't mean to doing that. And she went into that whole thing. So yeah, she definitely apologized. It fell on deaf ears. It fell on deaf ears, but she did apologize. And it felt, I don't know. It feels sincere, but again, it could also be, she said that it wasn't that she didn't care and that she was living her best life and all of that. She says she was literally afraid for her life. And I can't fully dismiss that when you think about if it's true that she got bamboozled into that. Now you know that this dude then had his own nephew taken out. You're probably thinking he used me to do that. Now he's about to take me out. And so you're kind of trying to move a certain way. And she said the reason she communicated with him. Now I'm just sharing. No tomatoes. No tomatoes. I'm just sharing. Not saying it's fact. Not saying that's what I believe. But she said that she kept in touch with him basically to keep his guard down. And that way he didn't, and I'm elaborating a little bit, but that way he didn't feel threatened like she's going to go and tell. So she tried to stay in his good graces because she was afraid for her life at that point. And I could see being afraid for my life if I literally see someone set somebody up to kill them in such a way on top of that. Like they got away with it. Well, unless I tell, but if I tell, I'm probably next. Like I kind of, and then when you slow, like there's a whole history back with this that it is in this pre-sentencing report. So when you look at all of those layers to it, like I can see some pieces of this. I can see this not being black and white. I'll put it that way. I can see this not being black and white, cut and dry. I can see there being some gray area with this. It says, oh, so thanks, chat. I'm glad he's the judge based off him saying Tim was determined. He's going to throw the book at him. Abso-effing-lutely. Abso-effing-lutely. Tim is going down. That one is going to be interesting. That one is going to be interesting for sure. Shantae B says, I'm confused. They keep acting like she came forward and talked. She didn't. She was arrested and talked. A grand jury had already indicted her. What the judge is saying doesn't make sense. Well, here's the thing. She didn't have to talk. She didn't have to tell what she knew. She didn't have to give them these pieces that connected Tim in the way where he would get convicted. So her testimony and her part in this was key. So, yeah. Yes. I don't know how else I think I've said it enough times of how we got here. Chocolate Drop. Left my butt off says maybe he liked their fried chicken. Maybe I'm not sure what part where we were at when that comment came. Says Kingdom Girl ATL, did he tell her to stay off the pole? No, he did not. There were no stipulations. I guess that's legal work, right? Working in a exotic club is legal work as long as you adhere to the guidelines of that municipality. If they say don't pull out your itties, then and you don't do that, then you're good, I think. Or if they say you can have them out and as long as you don't pull out nothing else, I think you're good. So, but no, he did not say that. He just told her, I guess as Leslie might be saying. So Leslie Bailey says the alcohol probably dulls the pain of her past. Yeah. So yeah, as he just told her to basically you got to stay away from. Well, he didn't say stay away, but she can't. She got to do substance abuse counseling or whatever. But yeah, the alcohol, Leslie. Yeah, the pain of her past. So you mean like her childhood and all of that? Yeah, I'm sure. Karma says, did he state how much time she would receive if she gets into additional trouble? No, he did not. He just said that he would give her the max available. So I think that would depend on if she were ever to be arrested again, what that infraction was, what sentence that infraction would carry, in addition to her past criminal record, which then those 2 points would definitely be added in addition to however many points this 36-month thing carries, and all of those would culminate to whatever her recommended sentence guideline. So it would depend on, God forbid, I hope that don't happen, but she would have to get in trouble so you can know what that was and what that carries to then add to it. So he didn't give out any arbitrary number because she would have to do something for him to have the formula, I guess, to work with, so to speak. Says the fact that she acted like she was into Andre proves she's manipulative. Absolutely. But, also she was a exotic dancer. So they have to operate in manipulation to some degree to be able to keep clients. Okay, well, I'm realizing because these numbers ain't going down. We have 49 starred comments. So what I'm gonna do is kind of just go through the ones that might be an actual question, and the super chats. Really, I probably just jumped through the super chats for the most part. What victory? This is crazy. They better give old boy life. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that will happen. To be black neighbor, my brother was a hooter of 17-year-old. Oh, I think from your earlier question, I could barely remember. I'm sorry, I've read too many comments in between, but I remember you saying, ask you how you know why. I think that she might get time served or something, and you're basically saying because you have experience through your relative, I think. But thank you for that response. Power Dynamics for Life. Hey, friend. Thank you, Vel, for your excellent reporting and dedication. Thank you so much for your continued support. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna pre-read some of these questions before I display them, so it's gonna take it's gonna be a slight delay. Okay, yeah, we're not reading that one. Y'all gonna be trying to get me in trouble. I done just read 4. I'm sorry, y'all. Some of y'all are gonna be irritated. I just read 3 questions in a row. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I started pre-reading. Y'all trying to get me in trouble. Y'all not starting no beefs over here about what nobody else jealous of. And y'all, we've done enough conversation about our last live stream with the challenge. It gave us content for fodder. We enjoyed ourselves, and let's take it as that. Let's remove some of the judgment. Hopefully, from that experience, those who may have been used as examples, being very vague, but used as examples during our last live stream may notice that the public perception is that there should be some improvement in those areas, and it may cause them to want to improve. And let's let that be our prayer. And then we're going to move on from it. We ain't going to keep digging no deeper hole for Vail, who has to show him his face in public. And he can barely get likes over here to get YouTube to push his videos, and much less afford security. We already got enough haters on here from the stuff y'all got me covering. We got to cover some other stuff. We're about to go in a minute. Says Don Smart says, thank you for the super chats, Zales, and cash out requests. Yes, thank you so much to everyone who is donating and showing your love. Sugar Spies, Miriam, Deborah Pearson. I'm sorry, Elaine, or I'm just doing first name. Gordon and Robin, I see all of your super chats. I'm sorry, all of your what are those? Cash apps there. And if you did Zelle and all that, I appreciate it as well. That's on my other device, and I'm trying to multitask here. We'll get it together one day. Thank you so much, Anita Lauderdale, for your super chat. Greatly appreciate it. I really appreciate it for you. Lisa Duffy, thank you so much. I appreciate you too, friend. Sheila, thank you so much, Vel. You did an amazing job. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you again. Let me unstart those. That'll help. Okay, we pulling these numbers out. Let's see. Okay. Gotta break those generational curses. Yes, I think we all can learn from that as well. Thank you so much, Santiago, for the $20 super chat. I really greatly appreciate you for your extra layer of support, friend. It says Don Smart says she thinks a few family members are in here. If they are, they can say hi. I'm not sure. I haven't. At least I can't see the real chat like that. I usually miss. And I don't know if I've said that publicly yet, but I miss 80 to 90% of the comments while we're on the live stream. Is just impossible to like see everything. I've actually seen comments from people. There was one person said he never responds to any of my comments. And I saw it while I was rewatching the live, and I'm like, that's because I've never seen them. It's not, I'm not ignoring anyone on purpose. Trust me. It's just I can't see them all, and that's why when I have the moderators, our background singers, back there, that's why I asked them to star things for me, and this is how I'll notice the comments. But I appreciate every comment, and I do see them eventually, but I see them after the live stream when I watch it back. But then I can't reply because I'm watching a recording. So, yep, I checked the Cash App. Thank you so much, Simply Red. Andre came because should have pre-read it. soon as I call myself like, oh, I'm gonna skip the pre-reading. Y'all trying to get me. Oh, y'all trying to get me. Oh, I see y'all don't really like me. I see. We almost done with this. We only got one more sentencing hearing. Y'all like, oh, we can't wait till we done. So we're gonna throw him away. We just gonna use him up, but we gonna set him up. Y'all trying to do a Tim Norman on me, like treat me like Terica there. Trying to set me up so y'all can throw me away. We ain't doing all that over here. And I should have read that one too. Let me see. Yeah, we're not doing that over here. Not sorry. There's liabilities in that. And I know how to move. And so there'll be a time where there could be more honest conversations about those sort of things, but there has to be a way that it's done. And this would not be the way that I need to be doing it if I'm trying to because y'all got my attorney fees. Like y'all got them fees. I'm not trying to waste money. Not like that. I got things I want to buy and use. and an attorney ain't one of them. So not for this. Yeah, it's y'all going in. I hear y'all, but y'all going in on stuff that see this this is a public platform. This ain't kitchen table talk. This ain't us texting each other. Like we can't just be saying any and everything. Oh, okay. Here's one. Oh my God, y'all about to make me get off of here. Y'all get a little reckless. CJ Jones says she will actually get the time served for every day she spent in prison. Okay. With federal sentencing, she will serve 85% of her term. So on the 36-month sentence, she will receive 30 months minus any time served. Oh, well, that means she's going to be getting out in a matter of a couple months then. I haven't done the math, but she had already served, well, a little over 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a little over 2 years. She probably got less than 6 months left then, if that. Okay. Thank you for that, Miss Jones. I forgot. CJ Jones, maybe? I forgot. I need to pre-read. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, okay. Here we go. ES says, with the judge knowing how Tim attempted multiple times to enlist women to help him set up Dre, Tim may be placed under the prison during the sentencing. Tim was diabolical, ruthless, and relentless. Yeah, we could definitely agree with that. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Janetta Boy. Thanks, Phil, for your nosy neighbor review. One of a kind. Thank you so much. I really enjoy this, and I enjoy coming to y'all with these. It is definitely a pleasure, as long as y'all don't be trying to get me in trouble with some of these comments that now I got to pre-read. Moderators, my backstage singers, I need y'all to make sure these notes are okay. Make sure we hitting these right notes before we pin them. Because I cannot read some of this stuff. Okay. I'll read that one though. He says, I don't know her background, but it's up to her as a mom to break the cycle for better for her children. Yeah, and she definitely Terica said that in her response, so that that she wanted to do that for her children. Like she wanted to get back home to her children so that she could break that curse. She definitely said that. Can someone drop Vale's Cash App in the chat? It's actually scrolling. Oh no, it's not. Sorry. I was gonna say it's actually scrolling across the bottom of the screen, but it's not. Wait, is it? Here we go. Now it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Thank you so much for that reminder, Marcia. I can't find it in my history. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Marcia, for that reminder. That lawyer was glad you read those letters. Keep up your hard work. Thank you so much. There's also the Cash App. It's scrolling across the screen, but sorry y'all for sniffling in the mic. I'm going to read this because I deserve it. So Diane Martin says, thanks for sharing Cash App. He has done an amazing job and deserves to be shown how much we appreciate all of his hard work. Let's get those likes up and drop Vail a donation in his channel. Thank you so much, Diana Martin, for showing that love and support and reminding people this is a job, y'all. And I work hard for y'all. Look at it. I don't know what time it is. It's going on 10 p.m. I've been on here going on 3 hours. I'm trying to take good notes, risking my safety. Yeah, doing all this for y'all. Trust me, if this was for me, I wouldn't. This ain't how I roll. I'd be waiting for somebody to report on it and watching it at home, like in my fuzzy slippers. I'm literally doing this for y'all, literally. So thank those of you who realize that and show your support. I greatly appreciate you for that. Says Tiana, I still have to wonder if all the texting back and forth with Andre wasn't Tim with that lady's phone. Terica did say that Tim was next to her the entire time. Every time, well, except for when she went to the mall. Tim was next to her when she initiated the texting with him and when she was at the Walgreens and Tim was setting up the burner phones, and then she switched over from her regular phone and told Andre, only text me here. This is my new phone. Something about my old phone broke or whatever she told him. Tim was there for each one of those messages and told her exactly what to send. So in that way, yes, but Tim wasn't the one typing, but it was his words that he told her to type. Okay. We got another comment. I'm just going to tell y'all vaguely what the comment that I have to ignore was saying. It's more about the family and the letters and people being upset because of what they did with the letters and me reading them, honestly. What does it says? Didn't Tim give all his women burners? No, Tim did not give Natural Skin Junkie. Tim did not give all his women junkies. Your name is getting mixed in my sentence. Tim didn't give all of his women burners. He had a separate burner for himself for each of his women, is what he claimed. So yeah, he had separate burners, and he had girlfriends. Thank you so much, Dro, for the Cash App, and Robin, if I didn't say it already. He would keep his burner phones in his car so that his girlfriend or whatever woman he was dating at the time, and I guess Janae at certain points, they wouldn't even know that those other phones existed because he never brought them in the house. He was just scandalous. Just no good for no reason. Okay, this is okay. Why would she be okay with him getting beaten up? That's still harm to him for no reason. Because it was presented to her, and I'm just telling you her position, not justifying it. But to her, it was presented that Andre was the person responsible for breaking in Miss Robbie's home, and that Andre had all of her stuff and masters to music and DJ studio equipment, all of those things, and that they were at the Natural Bridge home. Well, they were suspecting that they were at different places, but her understanding was that Tim was trying to get to Dre to get to the stuff and to confront him to hopefully get him to give them the stuff or even sell them the stuff back. So that's what she was told. So in her mind, I think she was like, well, if he stole the stuff, then it would be because he would possibly get beat up because of the fact, like kind of a whooping, like because that is his uncle, like give him a spanking for doing something so wrong to them. Sandra says, I was born and raised in Chicago. There are a lot of girls out there like Terica. She knows exactly what she was doing. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of people's position with that. Says, okay, what did Terica do with the money she got from Tim? Annetta, so she ended up that day while she was waiting on Andre, waiting on Tim to be ready, his boys to be ready. So after she left Andre at the La Quinta Inn, she was like, Andre, when you gonna be in next? And so Andre was saying he was waiting to hook up with his friends because he was going to record a music video later on that evening, in the park across the street from the Natural. Now I forgot the name of the park, but the park across the street from the Natural Bridge home. He was going to be recording a music video there later. So basically, she was trying to keep in touch with him. So she went to the Galleria Mall, St. Louis Galleria Mall, which I was at yesterday. That mall is beautiful. That mall is really nice. She went there and she spent like 3 to 4 hours there shopping, waiting for Tim to say his boys were ready so she could then reach out to Andre and then say, Andre, where you at now? And so that's what happened. Tim says, my boy's ready. This is his number. He then hooks her up with Trevelle's phone number, tells them basically to communicate directly with each other. She connects with Trevelle, tells Trevelle where Dre has said he would be. She's then told to basically go there, get him to come to the car, and then he'll handle the rest. So that's how they got there. So what she did with the money was she spent some money at the mall. She got a new phone. As Tim had instructed her, she got herself a new phone number. She also went shopping for Dre. She bought him some True Religion jeans and I think a shirt. True Religion jeans ain't cheap for those of y'all who don't know. And then when she got home, she deposited the money in like 2 different or 3 different bank accounts, if I'm not mistaken. And then she paid bills and stuff with it. That's what she did. Marcia, appreciate you, Ville. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you so much for your support and noticing the sacrifice. Donald Davis says, Ville, be great job. Just cash out you $5. Thank you so much, Donald. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think I got it. I think your name might be different on here, but I think I got it. Thank you. Trakesha, so she has enough smarts to get a boutique. Yeah, well, Terica was actually an entrepreneur. Like she had multiple hustles going on. She was doing the what they call it, a fat loss tummy tea or whatever they call it. She had a sunglasses line. I think she was doing like clothing. I could be going too far with that. Fairground Park is the park that Andre was filming at. Thank you, Deborah Davis. But yeah, she had multiple hustles going on besides being an exotic dancer for sure. Yeah. So she was taking that money, trying to eventually legitimize herself. Yeah. D Baby says she wouldn't make it a month with a boutique if she is slow as they claim. Yeah. Well, there's a ton of like Instagram videos and stuff. I actually have the stuff like deeply buried in my scattered amount of digital content that's all over the place. Thank you so much, Lorna Wilson. But anyway, I have videos of her promoting her tees and sunglasses, and I feel like she was selling like lingerie too, but I could be wrong with that, like some kind of clothing items. Like she was starting to do it online, and then people would come to her house for some of the stuff, like the teeth whitening. Even one of her, I think her brother mentioned the teeth whitening stuff. She was hustling. She was definitely hustling. Terica voice. I sure wish Tim would give me some money for these clothes. Thank you so much, Sonny. y'all so full of shenanigans. Thank you so much, GG Cleanup. I really appreciate you, friend. Anita, we only got 8 more, and then we're gonna head on out of here. Says Anita Lauderdale. Thank you so much. You did an awesome job, Ville, but I'm going to be petty just because I don't agree with the judge. But I need you to say, thank you, Jesus, in the Terica voice. Y'all so full of shenanigans. Thank you so much, Sherry Bell. Thanks, Ville. I'm praying for all involved. Yes, I am too, honestly. I really, really am. In spite of my shenanigans and digs and dragging and laughter and all of that shenanigans, I definitely am praying for all involved. Some more than others, though. Just gotta keep it real. Some more than others, but it is what it is. QST, thank you so much for the super chat. Says thank you for what you do for us. Thank you so much, QST. I appreciate you too, friend. CP Enlighten, thank you so much. Awesome coverage. Thank you, CP. I appreciate you. Tiana Yvonne, thank you, friend. Says sorry, Vel, I'm in my feelings. Oh, no problem, Tiana. We friends. We good. Sugar Spice, hey friend, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. And then what happened to you on the Patreon? We're gonna have to talk. I get notes. Where you at? K2 Shy says thanks, Bill, from South Side to West Side. West Side, South Side. I'm both. I grew up on the West Side, lived on the South Side pretty much my entire adult life, so I claim both. I really claim the South Side. I love the South Side. But anyway, thank you so much, K2 Shy. Thank you, everyone who has joined on this evening. Thank you to all of the moderators on the front end on the YouTube side. Because we've been on here so long, I won't be able to catch everybody. But thank you, Don Smart. And I know Marianne was in there earlier. I'm not sure who else I might be missing. But thank all of you. I really greatly appreciate you. Also, thank you to my background singers, Precious G and Alice Bliss, Child of God. Thank you, ladies. I could not do this work without your support. Or I would be very, very discombobulated, and I'd be more scattered brain and more shenanigans than the norm. So with that, thank all of you. I really greatly appreciate you. Please hit that like button on your way out if you were disobedient and didn't do it when I took all those breaks. And we'll be back. I'll be back with live stream. Oh, those of you who are on the Patreon, we'll go live tomorrow because I got time now. We'll talk about what I'll explain to y'all. But we'll be going live tomorrow, Wednesday night versus our normal Thursday night live. So I'll be sending the invite in our Patreon. And if you're not a part of Patreon, feel free to join. All of that information will be in our description area below and in the pinned comment that I'm going to add in a minute. So with that, thank y'all. Blessings and prayers to all involved and also the Griggs family. Thank y'all so much for my Justice for Dre shirt. I really greatly appreciate y'all for your support and your love. And with that, until next time, take care and be blessed. Peace.